My name is Neil McKenzie, and I'm in High Point, which is why I have this on. So, but here in the Learning Center, and I'm by myself, so I'm going to take this off. It's been a unique market experience, to say the least, but we've been kind of getting through it. And we are excited that you can make some time for us this afternoon. We have a great panel of guests that our friend Nick will introduce here in a second. I did want to just let everybody know that we are recording this. So if you miss anything, we will be sending it out. And we are also going to be hosting a virtual market session for those that could not make the trip to High Point on November 16th and 17th. We'll have a ton of content on a lot of the new things that we introduced this fall, including Coastal Living Outdoor, which we're very excited about. It's over 100 SKUs, 8,500 square feet upstairs, really a cool project. And then we also introduced some new work from home pieces, which we hear those two things are trending. And then we also introduced a new collection called Modern Farmhouse. So tons of new content on our end, and we'll be sharing all of that virtually on November 16th and 17th. So now we want to introduce our good friend, Nick May from the Chaise Lounge. He is in, I think you're in the Chaise Lounge. Right?
Yes, literally I'm in the lounge. This is the lounge. It's not very loungy. I feel like I should be in Chad's place and the dark, moody, black walls and everything like that. So thanks for having us.
But no, thank you for joining us. And I know that, Nick, I'll let you introduce the panel. I was just going to say that if people have questions, there is as we all are probably quite familiar with now, the tools that make up Zoom. So feel free to chat, ask questions, and I'll let you kind of manage that process at the end or as that comes up.
I was just going to ask, is there somebody that's answering those questions, or should I be paying attention to those?
I can kind of pop back in here in a little bit at the end and we can see what we got, and I'll ping you.
I just figured out how to pull that up. So I think I'll be okay. I totally forgot about that. I don't think we did that last time we did a panel virtually, but good job. Good job. Right. So I'm excited. And Neil was just mentioning the outdoor, what's it called? The Coastal Outdoor?
Coastal Living Outdoors. Yep. Or Coastal Living Outdoor.
I got a little sneak peek just a couple of weeks ago. I actually went to the real corporate offices of Universal and got to see a little sneak peek, but he wouldn't let me take any pictures.
That's how top secret it was.
Top secret. And I'm excited because we're in the middle of doing a whole house makeover for my parents that just moved to Florida. And we just spec'd all Universal furniture. So that's coming. So if just follow me, and we will be sharing that probably on Instagram and wherever else we can share that. So very excited. Thanks for helping me with that.
We're happy to do so.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks, Neil. We're going to jump into the panel discussion today, guys, if that's okay. And these are all friends of mine. I love the static photo that Neil just popped up of himself. So, but Neil won't be joining us anymore. I don't think today. It's just he's leaving the room, and he's just going to trust that we do an okay job, guys. I'm very excited because all of you guys have hung out with me, and so we're all friends. It's just friends here. We're just having a conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Right. We'll see.
You're all like, okay. So I'm going to let you guys each introduce yourself, and I'll point, but no, I won't point because you guys probably don't see me in the same manner in which I see you. So we're going to start with Lauren. Lauren, where are you? What's your business? And my one question for you on this kind of get started is, what's been your favorite social media in the last 6 months?
Awesome. Well, hey, y'all. Thanks for having me, Nick, in Universal. My name is Lauren Clement, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm the owner and designer at Lauren Nicole Designs, specializing in high-end residential and more, always more. So always more, it's like every day is a new adventure here, especially during COVID. So my favorite social media platform, Instagram has just been, the place to connect. And that, of course, has been ramping up. But since COVID, that's been a place where my business has been able to grow even more. So I'd call that my fave social media platform.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to go around the squares. So do you guys remember the Brady Bunch You guys all remember the Brady Bunch? So every
We're all
time I
in
jump
boxes.
on these panels and I'm like, all right, now we're going to go to Marsha. No, we're going to go to Courtney. Courtney, who are you? What's your business? And what's been your favorite social media over the last 6 months?
Sure. Thank you, Nick. My name is Courtney McLeod. I'm the principal of Right Meets Left Interior Design based in New York City. Well, favorite is an interesting word because certainly for design, Instagram has been my absolute favorite. It's such a source of inspiration. And then when I want to get, really riled up and angry about politics, I hop on over to Twitter. So favorite might not be the right word, but
Twitter is easy for that. It's a little bit more forgiving because it just goes away kind of in the feed. As opposed to Facebook, which just keeps coming and yelling at you over and over and over. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Chad, my good buddy Chad down in Nashville. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a twist on that last one because I don't want everybody to say Instagram. What's your second favorite social media after Instagram?
So, hey, I'm Chad James. I'm based, as Nick said, in Nashville, Tennessee. My company is the Chad James Group. We've been in this moment of pretty deep design mode right now. And when I get in that headspace with clients and with our projects, I cut it all off. So really for the past 8 months, other than me doing like post for Chad James Group, or other than me just kind of looking like, on Facebook and stuff, I've cut it off. I'm really guarding my mind right now, because I think everyone is so saturated by, because they're at home and they're just posting. And I think that we're seeing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over. And so it starts clouding your head. So for me, unfortunately, I know that's a twist on your question, but I don't really have one right now. I mean, I've been like ankle deep in design books. My favorite, designers that I take and just I get inspired. And I'm trying to be outside a lot these days to be inspired as well. But as far as the good old social media, I'm trying to step back a minute.
Nice. All right. Well, Christian, I know you're an Instagram guy, so I'm going to twist that question just a little bit more for you. When you get to that last part, I want to know what your favorite filter tool is.
Okay, well, as Nick mentioned, my name is Christian Daw. I run a small boutique interior design firm with a few designers over here in Washington, D.C., and we work all over. Since the kind of quarantine COVID times have started, I did go on a little bit of like an Instagram hiatus. I definitely took some time off, at least in between posts and things like that, and enjoyed some TikTok. While I never made a TikTok, I definitely like watching people dance and do that kind of stuff. And I definitely do that in my house by myself without cameras. But
so you're consuming TikTok.
Oh, totally consuming TikTok. I stopped now, and I definitely, we're in football season. We live in DC, definitely more Twitter, but.
I got to say, TikTok, and that's from hanging out with you and a bunch of other designers at the Design Bloggers Conference, or Design Influencers Conference, sorry, back in whenever that was, April, February, I don't even remember, but that was my last design, in person hanging out with people. And they talked a lot about TikTok, and I went a little bit viral on one post. So I've only had three posts total, but we went out to dinner. I don't know. You might've been with me on that dinner, but we went out, and it was with our friends. When we went, where would we go to dinner? The
Pollywood Girls?
I don't remember. But anyway, so were you, when they did the funny glass thing and the smoke kind of billowed up?
Oh yeah.
Megan and her husband. And anyways, so I did that, and I went a little bit viral on TikTok. But I hear you, that is so addicting, TikTok. I have to just turn it off. But anyways.
I don't quite understand it, but I definitely watched a lot.
Yes.
In terms of filters, I'm not a big filter person. So on stories, I do where you swipe one over and it makes you look a little bit better. I think it's called Paris. It kind of blurs the screen a little bit, but otherwise I don't use filters.
Okay. No filters. Just you. Just you. All right. We're going to go around. I don't do a lot of these kind of questions, but I'm going to go around because I want to hear everybody. So this is the only thing I'm going to ask one time, and then we're going to go around again after the introductions, of course. And we're going to do a different order. So I will surprise you guys. State of affairs, biggest challenge and biggest win in the last 6 months. And we will start with Chad James.
So I'll start with the biggest win. We have been building a house in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida for the past 3 years. And it has been pushed because of a hurricane. It's been pushed because of this. It's been pushed because of all these different things. And I had major anxiety over the fact that it was going to be ready and sitting there, and my team wasn't going to be able to, fulfill what we had set out to do. However, we took 13 days and we quarantined in Florida, and we installed this behemoth of this house. And it feels like I have given birth to this 3-year-old toddler, and it's out, and it's, it's a huge mile marker for me, because it's probably the second longest construction project that I've ever done.
Where was this at?
It's in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida.
Okay.
And so that's probably the biggest victory professionally right now. And then I would say probably the hardest thing that we have been dealing with is our dear friends and vendors that are struggling. Majority of our work is long-term work. And what I mean is we start from the beginning, and it can be a 2-3 year construction process. So when we start purchasing in the beginning days, or you start sending deposits and things like that to companies, and then you have a pandemic, then sometimes product doesn't happen. They get shut down, or they're hitting these bad financial moments. And so for us, it's been really difficult because we've had to, it's so overused right now, but we've had to pivot. We've had to be transparent and say to our clients, hey, this is what's going on. We got to select something else, or we've got to design something else.
So you have to go back to the design drawing board, literally.
Yes, literally.
And then find a vendor that can get you that as fast as possible, obviously.
Yes. And, thankfully we've been able to, there hasn't been that many sleepless nights over it. Transportation is the other thing, and everyone on this panel, will probably amen to this. I mean, transportation and getting things is one of the hardest things. I mean, I can only imagine for Courtney. I mean, she's in the hot seat of all this, and so.
We're gonna get to her.
It's. I think it's the hardest thing, and managing, and with that comes the managing phase of the psychology that we all have to deal with our beloved clients, of sitting down and saying, hey, listen, this isn't brain cancer, but hey, guess what? Your sofa that was supposed to be here in 2 weeks, it's not going to be for 8 weeks, and so there's been some hand holding for sure, probably more right now than ever in my career.
Yeah. Christian, I'm going to jump over to you. So you're over there. Biggest win and biggest challenge in the last 6 months.
So kind of like what Chad mentioned, I think my biggest challenge has been transportation. We had several projects basically with full trucks that were completely held hostage, rightfully so. But one was with a family that we had done, they had zero furniture whatsoever, and we had their entire truck held hostage in another state, and we were unable to get basically anything to them for several weeks. And then locally here in DC, we had our receiver held everything for this one client, and they also were in a place where they had very few furnishings in their entire home. And he took the quarantine incredibly seriously, beyond what was mandated by our local municipality, and he shut down his receiving warehouse completely, and we couldn't get any of our stuff out. So he kind of stopped returning calls and things of that sort. He was very concerned. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but finally, after a while, we were able to convince him to allow us to hire a completely another receiver to go pick up all the furniture and take it to a client. So that was kind of tough. and challenging, but we got through it. Wins. So we really grew a lot. We took this quarantine opportunity to really expand our team and to grow in a lot of the places and take some of the little bits of downtime we had to kind of onboard and bring together a really good group of people. So it's been great getting to know that team and to see how it works together, and
That's great.
really hit this new influx of people who want to renovate their houses and kind of take care of them.
That's fantastic. So is it really, so to go back to the transportation thing, is it really just is it the receivers that are the biggest holdup on this whole thing?
Not necessarily just receivers. We had literally manufacturers that were shipping stuff out and holding it on their not warehouse, but in their truck yard until certain states, which were closed, would guarantee that they would be allowed to receive, so the trucks wouldn't be sent away. That was at the very beginning, but still.
Oh my gosh. I just got home from a road trip of like, I don't even know how many states I went through, maybe like 15. There were trucks all over the place. Like, what's the deal?
Can I plug in something right here, Nick?
Yes, sir.
What we have to remember is that we're all at home and our clients are shopping. They're doing online shopping. They're doing the Wayfair. They're consuming. And so that in itself is, transportation companies are even more bombarded right now than they were before. And so the influx of the shipping is slow. The influx has caused the shipping to slow down as well.
Got it. Because they're just so busy.
Correct.
Courtney, up to you. Wins, challenges.
Yeah, I would say challenges, certainly the logistics of it. I think, being in New York City, even if we could get furniture here, a lot of the buildings wouldn't even let us bring it in, which was sort of, another layer of frustration. And, just managing client expectations. It's been a real challenge. And, it's the first time I've dealt with something quite so extreme. And, just sort of feeling like you're in the middle, helpless in a way, because there's nothing you can do. So that was really tough. I would say in terms of opportunities, certainly, there has been a real reckoning in the industry this year about issues around diversity and lack of opportunity and exposure for designers and artisans of color. And so it's created a lot of, new opportunities and new venues to show my work, which has, led to an influx of new clients, thankfully.
That's awesome.
So it's been, a big sort of opportunity for growth from the business side, but it's also been, really nice to start to see a little bit more editorial support as well. That certainly boosts your confidence as a designer, and it's a virtuous cycle. It really just, one door opens, another one opens, another one opens. And so it's really just been trying to take advantage of as many opportunities as I can. And, just really excited. We've got, projects, in the pipeline, starting, anywhere from now to projects starting in April. And it's just an exciting time. So, I've brought on a new team member, looking to potentially hire someone at the start of the new year. So, it's been a challenging year, but also one of a lot of new opportunities.
I was thinking out of anybody, you'd probably have the most challenges because of being in New York, because everything I've seen is just, New York is hit so hard. And
absolutely.
But,
and it was a lot of times it was the actual buildings, all these, apartment buildings where every single building has their own set of rules and restrictions. And
yeah, y'all have some hard logistics issues, COVID aside, right?
Totally. And of course, every super, it's his fiefdom. And so, they really went crazy with the power trip. And so, it's it's been a lot of, delicate, conversations and schmoozing to try to get your way. But we're
Bake lots
making
of
it
cookies,
work.
lots of cookies.
Yes.
Lauren, how about you? Challenges and wins in the last 6 months?
So, logistics, like everybody has mentioned, for sure has been an issue. Now that everybody is working and busy and buying, the supply chain from manufacturers is low. The demand is so much higher. And I think we're seeing longer lead times. We're seeing upholstery manufacturers, obviously taking COVID very seriously. If there's ever any positive cases, that's, they're shut down. Now we're 2 week further delay. So, and our clients who are home, they don't want to hear that. They want their items and they want them now. So it's managing those expectations of, when I talk with somebody today, holidays aside, COVID aside, it's just, okay, things are just taking longer in general.
Right.
But setting that expectation has really started to help. And I think now, even beyond the furniture and the design world, I think people are seeing the delays like we talked about. Amazon, Wayfair, everybody is sort of in this overwhelmed state. So I think having that open communication has been good to set those expectations of, look, everything's just taking a little longer right now. Another challenge, I had 2 renovations set and ready to start like the week of the shutdown, and they have actually still not picked back up, although we're getting ready to. But now we had families who were all home. We had kids home from college, from boarding school, husbands working from home, and they all said, no, we cannot be tearing apart our master suite, redoing our floors and our kitchen while we're all trying to live in this house. So those were a couple of challenges at the beginning. Now, the flip side to that is you get over that initial hump and it's just exploded, I think, like we're all seeing. And so that's been great. But one of the most successful parts for me, actually, I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, I think this newfound communication. I did a whole, like right early on in quarantine, a whole house presentation for a family who lived 10 minutes down the street from me. And I did some things in my office. I took some things outside to show them what things looked like in the natural light if the phone doesn't pick it up. It was this newfound way of communicating with clients who were not a plane ride away, but literally just down the road. And now that door is open for communicating on other platforms, be it text and FaceTime. And I think some decisions are able to be made more efficiently for some projects. So that's been nice. And then real quick, number 2, the whole Instagram, and like I mentioned, that would be my fave platform that you asked about. I started a series called Live with Lauren on Mondays at noon. And this has been a way for me to connect with, whether it be local people who I'm trying to highlight, local artisans in and around the Charlotte area, or other manufacturer industry professionals as well. And so, being home and we all having a little bit more time on our devices for people out in the world, that's been a really great platform for me to connect with new people. So that's been fun.
A live chat on Instagram?
Every Monday, or pretty much every Monday. We took today off. I actually went up to High Point today. So yes, Mondays at noon, and we take about 30 to 60 minutes and just chat about highlighting somebody's business, or again, a topic out in the design world. So it's just been a really neat way to connect.
Yeah. I believe that's a great idea for all of us, right? So, showing off other artisans, showing off other resources, just anything in and around the home, like even entertaining, right? Like all that stuff is great content.
Well, and I think people are really thirsty for, more information, and with time on their hands, or with more so being connected more so to their home, whether it's home or fashion or design or organization for that matter. I think now more than ever, people are looking for some more knowledge. So yeah, that's a good way to bring it to them.
No, absolutely. Chad, we're going to come over to you. Now, you and I have done a lot with panels. You're at High Point usually, right? Like, I don't think I've done a High Point in the last several years where you and I have not done something together, right? So it's great that we're continuing to do this, even though in virtual. What are you doing to stay out there and stay active and continue to get kind of FaceTime, if you will, out in the public in the industry?
It's funny. As you know, my travel, and you guys have all heard this, and you probably are the same, but before pre-COVID, I traveled last year 200 and I think it was 68 flights. And the year before that, it was like 200 something. And so my travel has been crazy for the past, 10 years. And I remember thinking pre-COVID, and I'd even said, I don't know how to slow this down. And so what I tried to do from the beginning was to look at this as a way to kind of have a reset and a pause. And I think I know people were messaging me saying, hey, are you okay? You're not posting as much and you're not, and I was like, yeah, I just think that, I'm in a climate right now with myself that I need to be listening. I need to absorb. Sometimes the sponge gets dry and you gotta get it wet again. And so what I've been doing is I've been really listening. I've been, just absorbing all this information and trying to put it into my voice. And in doing so, to answer your question, Instagram, of course, I know we all get sick of talking about it, but it really is the way that I try to keep my voice, active. And then also I went back to, the good old Southern gentleman, thing that I was taught to do. I have been corresponding, handwritten correspondence a lot with editors and my friends in the industry and my clients, and just taking a moment to get away from this. And, it's the double-edged sword, and trying to spend more time thinking about how I can unplug a little bit, but still stay. It's this crazy balance. How do I stay connected, but how do I unplug as well? And just trying to think through little tricks that I know that are tried and true from growing up, with a mom that made me write a note for everything, and it's helped.
My mom always wanted me to, but I wasn't good at it.
Practice makes perfect, Nicholas.
I know. Christian, we're going to come over to you. And for those who don't know, your story and your background, you really came on strong with Instagram just a couple of years ago. Just give us a little bit, how did that happen? And how have you been so successful so quickly?
So I had a previous career and I was a lawyer for a while. And I, before that, even used to flip houses. And so while I was doing law, I decided to kind of work on houses on the side, family, friends, that kind of thing. And also, I was just generally obsessed with homes. So I was constantly saving every picture I could see, and kind of like Chad was saying, going back for inspiration everywhere. But I was doing that for a while and then decided just time to just share it with other people. And so I did that for a little while my business was small and on the side and doing odd jobs here and there. And then it just kind of grew pretty quickly from that. Small jobs turned into large jobs, and I took the jump and went full time into it like 4 years ago now. And I've been doing that ever since. So yeah, in terms of being successful at it, I know this is kind of cliche, but it really is just like thinking strategically about it. Like, what do people want to see? How do people want to envision you? And then also working really hard at it. So that is basically you put in the time and you get the result, which is tough for most people. And I get that, but
it is. Now, I know that I got to see a whole presentation that you put on at the Design Influencers Conference, and it was awesome. But and so I won't ask you to to duplicate that. But what's one thing that you see other people that are trying to compete in this space that they're doing that they're not doing right, that you think that they could, and you see it quite often?
One thing, recognizing, like not realizing that you have that you are the editor, that this is a publication that someone's going to invest in or purchase or something. So it's really not taking it seriously. Like, am I going to post a crappy looking shot from my iPhone? No. And the reason why is like, I'm hoping someone's going to invest their time, energy, and resources to give me social capital to follow me. And it'd be like you would cancel a subscription to Articles Digest if they had some like really grainy photo that was not centered and like the drapes weren't steamed. Like you would not go far with that. So just really put in the effort that people are coming to expect, unless that's your jam and that's your goal. Like there's some people who really do well with grainy, fuzzy images that are off center, and that's kind of their shtick, and it works for them. But in our space where everything is so visual and people are perfectionists, even in the imperfection, make it look natural and perfect.
Yeah. So just putting in the time, like it's not just, hey, I took a picture, let me just share it on Instagram.
Yeah, most of the things people share don't necessarily need to be shared. There are ways to do that in stories. There are ways to do that personal blogs, things like that. But if someone's coming to you for beautiful imagery, it should really be your best.
Yeah. Curated.
Yeah, curated is a great way to put it.
Yeah. Lauren, you get the next question. Is there anything new that you've done as a result in your business, obviously, new as a result of COVID? Like what's something that you guys have started to doing that you weren't really doing before?
Well, I talked a little bit about the Live with Lauren. That's something that I think has been almost a side note to my actual design business. That's almost more of this sort of lifestyle influencer. You know, we do keep talking about how important this branding and Instagram and social media concept is, but I definitely have also grown my business in terms of getting outside of Charlotte. And it's something I've always done and worked with clients on second homes. But now I am having more so of that reach, and it's easier now. As like I said, I was working with clients 10 minutes away, but as if they were a plane ride away. And now that has sort of molded the way that my business is set up with renovation work and design presentations. And I think that's now an easier model to carry over to that out of town work. And that's a lot of fun and a way to expand it. So I think that's been an opportunity that's always been there, but presented itself in a much more in an easier way now that I've kind of established that here locally.
Would you say that's more in the e-design world or just working with clients?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's, not so much advice in e-design boards or, okay, here's a design and, you go source it. Still sourcing product and even working with contractors on a non-local level. So not so much just an e-design basis, but a traveling from my office sort of basis, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Courtney, we're going to come back to you. So obviously New York has been challenging. Are you on Manhattan? Are you there? Or are you outside? You're in Manhattan.
Yep. I'm in Manhattan. My office is in the Flatiron District, which is sort of downtown, and I live uptown in Harlem. So
okay.
Yeah, right in the thick of it.
You are in the thick of it. And then I've heard of, I don't know, because I haven't been there. I've heard of a lot of people moving out of downtown. Have you seen this?
Yeah. It's definitely a real trend that is continuing. From our perspective, it's in some cases has created opportunity where, we've had clients from years ago, they've, sold the apartment and they found a beautiful, big house upstate or nearby. And so, that I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, it's the city is in a period of transition for sure. In a way, I think it's much needed. We were kind of getting to a real extreme, especially when it came to, residential real estate, and affordability had, just become such an issue. And so, I think we're all hoping that, a positive side effect of what's happening will be a little bit of a realignment, of the city from that perspective. But it's still, New York City is one of those unique places where, the two extremes are so close together. You have just this absolute extreme wealth and absolute extreme, poverty from American standards, literally on top of each other. And I think that
Right.
that has become, much more stark and apparent. And it's hard. It's hard, as someone who, this is my adopted city and a place I absolutely love. And so it's a challenging time. It's a really just beyond design and all of
Right.
our, logistical issues. It's the whole city is in flux. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
I was wondering a little bit about that because I've heard of folks, having either second homes or just getting up and moving out to the suburbs. And I was wondering if the designers that worked with them in the city were also then going out to them in the suburbs, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I think, certainly, if you're working in New York City and Manhattan, that means almost by default, you're working in, Connecticut and upstate and the Hudson Valley and, New Jersey. And, it's sort of natural. So, again, for New York City designers, I haven't found that people have been scared or negatively impacted by the trend. Again, if anything, it's just a bigger space to design, which works better from our end.
Yeah. Lauren, I want to come down to you and ask, you were saying that you've been working a lot kind of remotely with clients. What's been some of your tools that you've really leaned into and have been using a lot?
Yes. Well, I'm going to say one thing real quick back to Courtney's point about the moving. And I know she's seeing that on a local level. We're seeing a lot of people from up north moving to Charlotte. We're seeing a lot of people from California. I think I have had 2 clients in a month who are completely packed up and moved here from California just in the last month. So it's interesting too, seeing that influx of people from, other geographic reasons, whether that, just quality of life, and COVID has kind of made them recognize what they either have or don't have, in their own hometown. So hate that they're leaving those areas, but we have seen a lot of that, influx here in Charlotte from other areas. So interesting. So I use Keynote on my, Apple devices a lot, like a PowerPoint. And that's something that we can all mark up and write on, whether it be for floor plans or for furniture design. That's something that I really rely heavily on. And it's just a great tool to go back and forth and communicate. FaceTime, we're all now able to either be together, but not together on that nice FaceTime. And then Zoom, we're all now very equipped on how to make a Zoom call. And that's been a great tool as well. So bringing in, whether it's vendors and contractors and manufacturers, clients, myself, it's just been a great way to all stay in touch.
Yeah.
And
Anybody
I
else?
still prefer that over any kind of text or email. Like I try to still limit the texting and the emailing as much as possible, because today when we can have that FaceTime on the phone, it just is so much more preferred than, where things can get misconstrued. So keeping it personal as much as possible.
Anybody else using some other tools for dealing with working with clients?
My team uses, my team uses Microsoft Teams. I'm an old dog and it's real hard to get me to do, new tricks. And so I use it a little bit, but during the thick of everything, we were all working from home. That was our primary, it was our lifeline between our clients. We were able to do presentations very easily. We could share files and just have, like we're having right now, just a conversation with them as well. And then also my team, itself, they were all able to stay a little better connected by using that program.
Christian, did you have something else to add?
Well, this isn't technologically a tool that we use. We're starting Asana, which I'm learning. I'm not loving it, but I'm learning it right now. So if you want to give me some tips, I don't know. But one thing we're using more is the Postal Service, and we are literally taking design boards, putting them onto cork packages, and taking like our rug wrap, the saran wrap we wrap around rugs when we send them out, and actually saran wrapping things before we send them to clients. So it's the full-on design board. We would literally be showing them, just cut up into corkboard sections and stacked with like down to the metal finishes attached, all the fabric, our little notes, little like cute things, all just saran wrapped in. So I've actually found that kind of fun, like a little crafty, little DIY stuff. So
Nice. I love it. I will just add that we've started using a platform called Discord. Has anybody in here heard of Discord? Yeah. So evidently it's a platform that a lot of gamers use. And so like, we'll be talking about it and someone's kid will be like, I'm on Discord. And so it's pretty funny, but yeah, I'm like the old guy using Discord, and it's you've got some video opportunities. I like it because it's reminiscent of Facebook. I'm like Chad, like I'm the old guy, right? Like I'm still like the Gen X, so I'm still using Facebook, but it's kind of Facebook-esque in that we've got feeds and whatnot. So you guys might want to check out Discord. I don't know if that helps with Teams, but we tried Trello and whatever you just said before, Christian. Asana. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I
No.
literally had a breakdown with it one day. I can't do this.
I'm like, just send me an email. Like, seriously, why are we doing this?
We tried Trello too, and I think we're almost doing things twice, and at that point you're like, well, this is silly.
I know.
Totally counterproductive. Yeah.
Correct. Chad, I wanted to come back to something that you were talking about a little bit before. You had to change the way that you do business because last year you said 200 and some odd flights. This year, how many?
I think it's maybe 40, which is still
okay.
And I literally, my last flight was March the 11th, and then I didn't fly until.
Then it pretty much just stopped then.
I mean, it stopped.
Right.
And then I did have some travel that was by car, then I did not get back on a flight until I think August, September, and now it's just like it's back. So,
it's back. So are you just going back to the way you used to do things, or are you gonna lessen the amount of travel?
Well, that's a hard question because I like to travel, and I think that my team does really well when I'm not here. We can all tell when we're getting a little itchy. It's time for, Chad out the door. It's time for them to actually get some work done. My partner as well. I mean, I think it's probably great for us to have alone time. I mean, to have separation time. And so, when I started my career in 1998, and when I lived in New York, I traveled every week. And so I've traveled pretty much my whole career. And so it's been really interesting trying to reinvent that. And of course, with FaceTime and with Zoom and with Teams and things like that, of course, we've been able to stay in constant communication with our clients. But a lot of the way that I was communicating with our clients pre-COVID is still the same way, because so much of our work is not in the state of Tennessee. I mean, we're all over. And so it's, I'm a huge FaceTimer. And pre-COVID, my friends and clients and family, they all gave me hell about it. But I'm the type of person, I want to see your face. I want to talk to you. I don't want to text all day. I don't want to email. I'm very old school, and I need to see your face. I need to see how, when I show you something, you're like, oh my God, or you're like, oh no, I need to know.
I can attest to this because I will text Chad something and he will just call me.
Absolutely. Yes.
Lauren, I want to go down to you. How has this affected work-life balance? I know you're at your mom's house right now, and we've been doing this work from home thing. How has that affected your work life? Like, have you started to work more?
What's work-life balance? I don't know the answer to that. Well, so I have two daughters, 9 and 10, and I work all the time, like we all do. But I actually think this has been very good for my work-life balance, especially in the beginning. Last spring, I was able to see my kids more. Now, back to what Chad said about traveling, my husband would travel 4 out of 5 days pretty much every week. So adjusting to him being home was a whole new world
Reverse.
for my family. I mean, personally, like, what are you doing here? And oh my gosh, that's not how we do this. But now he's very helpful because actually,
Sorry.
Yes. It was like, oh my gosh, we're married. Like, this is what married people do. But anyway, so it was for sure an adjustment. It's been great to really, I mean, the kids are saying, okay, it's family, it's movie night, it's game night. Like, I had to force those times, and I'm so grateful for that. I won't take, and now that's normal, and that's our routine. So it actually has shifted my scales a little bit, and I for sure have a better work-life balance because of it. And I've got my husband as my partner back full time. He has not started traveling yet again. So it's actually been quite nice.
Nice. Anybody else want to chime in on work-life balance, if it's been really good or really bad?
It's kind of interesting because when everything shut down in New York in mid-March, it shut down, and it was 2 months where you literally you were forced to just stop completely. And, I found as soon as everything started to open back up, it was like, bam, it went from 0 to 100. And I felt it, I felt this just overwhelm that I had been living previously and had just been sort of, I'll deal with it. I'll figure out a way to balance this, and you were sort of forced to really, confront it. And it's been kind of great because, the last month or so, I've been very proactive about that balance, about stopping. People can wait. I'm not curing COVID over here. Like, it's okay, and so putting a little bit less time pressure on myself. And, I feel like for the first time, I'm actually starting to master the balance, which is quite nice. And it's the first time, in my design career that I've ever been able to really say that. So yeah, I think I've learned something really important this year.
Nice.
That's
Anybody
great.
else?
I for years I've been trying to conquer the work balance. Every vacation we go on, it's the joke with my partner and our friends that if we go on a vacation, we literally have to go somewhere that's so secluded, or in some backwoods something, where there's nowhere that I can shop because I don't cut it off. I mean, my brain's always going about being creative. But I will say during this time, I was very, very diligent to make sure that it's kind of a running theme with me on this conversation. I've been trying to pull back a little bit from staying so connected and being so concerned with I've got to respond immediately, or every time the phone buzzes or whatever, I'm like, I got to get to it. And so for the first time in many, many years, I've been setting it aside and establishing with my team that, listen, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., it's a good time to be committed to what we're doing. And if someone, needs an answer, we can do it during those hours. But, 10 o'clock at night, no, it's taking away from me, and it's taking away from the people in my life that I need to be paying attention to every day. And so I've been really, really diligent about trying to set some very healthy boundaries.
Well, 7 o'clock's pretty late to begin with.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. So
Yeah.
I maybe it's because I do a lot of Instagram. Maybe it's because I don't have kids yet. My husband also works crazy hours. But I like taking breaks during the day. I like if I want to go for a walk or go to the store. Not that it happens very much now, but for me, it's kind of a 24-hour news cycle, at least here. So I'm regularly texting with clients, and I'm regularly communicating in whatever mode of communication they prefer. And my process, or my motto is, I guess, that I'll respond as soon as I can when I can. So if it's if I get up and it's 7:30 in the morning and I'm laying in bed reading the news, I will respond to people then, and I might respond to people at midnight, but it's not necessarily an instant response, but I respond at all hours. And I don't know how long it'll last, but it's worked so far, and we'll see if it continues.
Christian, how old are you?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
How old do I look? I'm
35.
I'm 35. I always forget. I have to ask people.
I'm 10 years senior, and I'll tell you, in 10 years, I'd like to have this conversation with you again, because you'll hit a point.
I'm sure it'll change.
Yeah.
Kids are probably in the very near term, and I know that I will probably just like, you know what, I can't talk to anyone. I'll see you in 18 years. But
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
What I've learned is that my family, there was a period in my life that I was very removed, because I was so connected and so geared toward, I'm not saying you can't have both, but I'm just saying for me personally, there was a period in my life that I missed a lot of monumentous things, because I was so enthralled and so connected to what my clients were doing. And so I hit a point, my father passed away 4 years ago, and I had this real light bulb moment where I realized that life was very, very short, and that I needed to make sure that I was giving people, whether they asked for it or not, I needed to be present, and I needed to give quality time, because I wasn't a quality time guy. I was always like if we, years ago, I'd have been like this on this Zoom, still, but that's not quality. So yeah, right, exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but
and the people in your life, no matter what age, they can be 2 or 10 or 40, and they all feel it and know it. Trust me, because I've been in that boat too. So
one of the hardest things is my staff saying to me, "Hey, listen, could you please come to our design meetings and leave your phone at your desk?" Because you're in a design meeting and they're trying to present, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," So it is about it.
You're like, it's fine. That looks good. Like that.
For now, at least, it allows us to do a lot more than we otherwise would. Like I can
get it.
barely turn down a dinner invite, or it's different right now. I'm not talking about right now, but there's definitely able to vacation a lot more, because there is no such thing as a non-working vacation. So it definitely lets I think I've used an out of office on my email twice in the last 24 months. So that includes some.
Right. So Nick, we're gonna do the same panel 10 years from now. Okay.
10 years. Okay.
I'll put it on my calendar.
But I'll be honest. I'm more like Christian. I struggle with that. In fact, I just got back from 3.5 weeks of being out on a road trip, and my wife had a conversation with me last night. Like, you've got to be more present. You've got to, and I'm maybe the oldest one on this panel. I don't know. But it's a struggle, because you're so into what you do. Right. And for me, I've gotten in trouble with my staff because I've texted them too early. Cause I'm in the past, I've been known to be up late and up early in the morning. And so one of my folks said something in a meeting. She's like, "Can you stop texting me at 6 a.m. in the morning?" I'm like, "I just didn't want to forget to send that to you. I'm just so ADD that but now I've learned I've got to email it." But I did have a thought. I'm thinking about getting a second cell phone, so I can literally take this one and leave it at home, and my family can then just call me, and I just have a flip phone. Like, seriously.
All right, Grandpa, you do that.
With big numbers.
How that works out. Okay?
Just get the phone in a bag, and it can be like your little purse you carry around.
I never had the bag phone, but I did have the car phone that was literally installed in my car. Anybody else? Anybody else have it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has been super fun. Any other changes in your business that you've made because of whether it's technology changes or the way we have to communicate, or even just new buying habits? We haven't even touched on that. We were really mostly supposed to stick on just technology and all that, but I've noticed, somebody mentioned in here, maybe it was even Neil, now people are wanting, more home office spaces. What changes are people asking for? Like your clients, anything?
I'll go. I think people are looking at their homes with a real discerning eye right now. There are things that they need. They need to function. They need desks. They need workspace. They need kids' homework space. They need, whether it's new family room furniture. They're not entertaining necessarily, but they're looking around going, well, this doesn't look so good. Or in the beginning, I feel like it was little things like, I really need new lighting. Okay, that's easy to kind of pick off. It's not necessarily a full custom room design, but people are definitely looking at their homes and ready to buy and make changes, which is great. And I think part of what we're seeing, there's those people who are in their homes looking to make changes. And then, like I mentioned, we have a huge influx of people buying and moving in from other areas. And that's been awesome for the Charlotte market.
I've got a little technological one that was a change. And I kind of implemented it before at the end of last year.
And not the post office?
Not the post office. I've been using that for at least 2 years. But have you guys heard of Calendly? Okay, so you can schedule things.
Big user. Yes. Lots of accounts.
So I, as a lot of us are experiencing right now, we're getting a huge influx of people wanting to improve their living spaces. And some of those are clients that can really manage that full scale renovation and full scale design, and they're willing to invest that way in their lives. But there are a lot of other people that know the value that comes from an interior design firm, and they recognize that can help improve their lives, but they don't have the budget that would come to do an entire living room or to an entire floor in their home. So because I'm constantly involved on the social media side of things, and I talk to people, I'm giving as much free advice as I can give because I enjoy it and it's literally fun for me. I honestly don't have time to do that for everyone, as we just mentioned, I don't have time. So now, I've been keeping these blocks in my schedule that I try to keep open, whether it's 2 hours a day. Typically, it's about 6 hours in a week that I have open, and I just put it in at my hourly rate. And you can literally book on Calendly, and people come there, and they fill up every week, and people ask me questions, and some of it's I want to paint this room white, but I don't know if it's too yellow or too green. That's what maybe a third of it is. But then there are other people who are literally like, well, I'm looking at changing out the tile in my bathroom, and I really want to have Carrara marble floors because it looks so pretty, but I'm worried because it's just out of the budget, or my daughter uses a lot of hair dye and things like that. Talk to me about this. And it gives me an opportunity to say, you know what? Maybe invest in a porcelain, maybe do this, maybe talk them through things. And it's really given me, one, it's kind of fun because it's little projects that I can not have to think about a timeline or thinking about sourcing for and all that, but it gives me an opportunity for a little bit of income that adds to the bottom line for the year, but it's also giving access to those who might not otherwise have access. And then also kind of just streamlining the onboarding process and doing a lot of things that are where things are just rote responses and following up and things that can kind of fit into a timeline has been super crucial.
So can I ask some technical questions on that?
Yeah.
So how are you setting these are 30-minute increments, an hour increment, book for however long you want?
So I think they're 45 minutes. I could be wrong. They're 45 minutes or an hour, and it's all set through Calendly. And there's only one option. So when someone reaches out to us, they can either go onto the website and do it all on their own and book, which is what most people do. I don't know, it just pops up on my calendar every time someone books one, and I just have a hold for those times set up. But typically, if someone reaches out to us and they're like, we want, it's a pretty big project, we want to do our bedroom, our living room, our kitchen, we're going to reuse our appliances, we need new cabinets, you want to do new living room, all outdoor furniture, we've got a budget of about $4,000, and we're hoping that this will work. That's great. And a lot of people just don't understand how the process works. And so I'm like, well, I don't think we're a fit because our fees will consume a lot of that budget. We're happy to talk you through how a good way to budget is and what real costs are. Here's a link if you want to book an hour of my time. And that's something, and I'll talk to them, and people take me up and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that cost that, or it's really anything. People have asked me about rent. I have someone from a fast food chain asking about, we have a place like in the middle of nowhere on some water, and they're looking about putting in a fast food chain. So like they could be literally any question. It could be anything. And
I love it. Is that just on Zoom or FaceTime, or what are you doing?
No, I don't like going on Zoom. I try to Zoom as little as possible. This is an uncomfortable situation for me. So it's only phone, and I do have a speakerphone.
You don't even see what they're talking about. You're just talking to them.
The girl who sets it all up, she just requests for like a real estate listing or some kind of photo in advance, and those get just sent to me before the call. I hop on, I open it up, and we chat. So it works. Everyone's happy. I mean, everyone so far has been ecstatic. We have a lot of like people that book continually. So they get a project without me having to have any kind of long-term commitment to them, but they get to say like,
very interesting.
Like one person booked for a question on paint, and then they were local, and so they booked another hour for me to come out, and they pay for the additional ones. Everything's just booked through the service. I just get a little email notification of where to be or what to call or all of that. And there have been, I don't want to say these are not big jobs. It's not like I'm going to retire on any of these, but someone might book 7 hours. And they do it at their schedule, and I know I'm free during that time, and it's literally just asking questions. And I don't do the whole e-design thing, so I'm not like sourcing on Wayfair and doing stuff like that for people. It just is not the way.
Just your opinion. It's just your opinion. They're asking your question. And I hear this from designers all the time. People call me and they say, "Can I just buy you a cup of coffee and pick your brain?" Like who loves that? Said no one ever.
This would be a great app for family and friends.
Yeah.
We have free coffee. But yeah, that is also like people who I think we're all active on Instagram, I assume. And I'm sure everyone gets these same messages. Like most of them I answer. I'm not afraid to be like, someone's like, "Oh, where's a good place to get this?" or "Where's a good place to get that?" or "I want to paint my house blue. Do you think it's going to look bad with this?" And I'll be like, if it's a quick answer, yes, no, here, there, I'll give answers. I'm not like so proprietary. And I know some designers get very frustrated by people like me who do that kind of stuff. But they're not going to be real clients. I'm not taking anything out of the pool of potential clients. Right. These are not, they're looking for quick advice, or looking for how to invest. Or someone asked me, "Can I paint a vinyl window?" the other day. Like there are lots of things, people just random questions. If I know it.
And you said what about the vinyl window? Because I'm a painter.
So I said, I don't think so. I said that my painter once told me that they could paint vinyl siding, and I've never done it, never would do it. And
vinyl siding, yes. Vinyl windows, probably not. Well, especially if they do this.
Well, this was a picture window over a bathtub.
If it's stagnant, yes. Yeah. If it doesn't open and it's just, yep, you could do that.
And there's this girl on Instagram out of California, like Pretty on Fridays or something, and she painted a vinyl window with a little brush. So, but yeah, so like people book that, and some of them turn into decent jobs, but it's not like, I enjoy it. So that's a technological advancement that I'm really leaning on in this time.
I love it, guys. Well, we are out of time. We were 3 minutes over, and I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank Universal for pulling this all together, and hopefully someday soon we'll all get back to High Point. We'll go back to the Learning Center, and they'll have that little glass of champagne that we always have there, right? But I also want to remind people you can listen to all of these kind of stories on the Chaise Lounge podcast that we do each and every week. And I believe everybody except for Christian, maybe. Christian, you and I haven't had a chat on the podcast.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
We usually do those on Zoom, but it's just for my pleasure, so I can see your face, and we could turn it off.
Okay.
But anyways, thanks, guys. I don't know if Neil needed to close anything out, but I don't think so. I just keep looking down, and I keep forgetting that he's not. Oh, wait.
I'm back. Yes.
There he is.
I don't. Yes. Hey, welcome.
There he is.
No, that was great. I really appreciate everybody's time. Thanks for spending some time with us. Somebody asked me a question. Will we be able to watch this later? We will. We will email this out, and you can drink while you watch it if you want. So.
Nice.
But we'll also be including all of this content as well as the other events that we've been having this week as part of our virtual market, November 16th and 17th. So, but yeah, Nick, everyone, thank you so much for spending your Monday afternoon with us. And we'll be back here again tomorrow. So
This has
Thank
been
you.
great. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
thank you, everybody.
Thank
I miss you
you.
all. I miss you all.
Likewise.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks. Bye.